Old-time farmers kept healthy chickens without supplements, without medicated feed, and without a trip to the farm store. One of the things they used cost them nothing at all. It came straight from the fireplace, from the wood stove, from the burn pile at the edge of the field, wood ash and charcoal. Two simple things that most flock keepers today have never thought to try, and that, when used the right way, can quietly make a real difference for your hens. That's what this video is about. Welcome back to Small Purposeful Farming, where we give practical homesteading advice. Watch till the end. I'll be showing you the secret of using this simple thing to improve egg production. Let's get into the video. Wood ash, the fine gray powder left behind after clean hardwood burns completely, is not just waste. It's actually rich in calcium, the same mineral your hens need every single day to form a proper eggshell. Think about it this way. A hen laying an egg every day is putting a lot of calcium into that shell. When she doesn't get enough from her diet, her body quietly borrows it from her own bones. Over time, that weakens her. Her shells get thin. Her production drops. Her health suffers. This is why most flock keepers offer oyster shell as a calcium supplement. Wood ash works in a very similar way, and for centuries, that's exactly what farmers used. The other thing wood ash does is something most people wouldn't guess. It's very alkaline, almost like a natural powder that insects and mites don't like at all. When hens dust bathe in ash, it coats their feathers and skin in a way that dries out and disrupts the tiny parasites that can cause real trouble in a flock. Ash is one of the oldest, simplest ways to keep mites and lice, the pests that hide in feathers and nest boxes, under control, long before there was anything to buy at a farm store. Here's something important first. Chickens must have a dust bath. It's not a luxury. It's a real need, like food and water. Hens use it to keep their feathers clean, regulate the oils in their plumage, and protect themselves from parasites. A hen without a proper dust bath will try to bathe in her water dish. A good dust bath has three things in it. First, dry soil or coarse sand. This is the base. It gives the bath good texture that hens can really work into their feathers. A few inches deep is plenty. Second, wood ash. Clean hardwood ash only. No ash from treated lumber, painted wood, plywood, or anything you're not sure about. Just plain wood from a fireplace, a wood stove, or an outdoor fire. Add enough to make up about a quarter of the total bath. A good handful per square foot is about right. Third, food-grade diatomaceous earth. This is a fine powder made from fossilized material that damages the outer shell of insects. Use it as a small portion, maybe 1 part in 10, mixed in thoroughly so it doesn't create a dusty cloud on its own. Put the bath somewhere sheltered, out of rain and standing water. A simple roof over it keeps it usable year-round. Every 2 or 3 weeks, refresh the ash. If it gets damp and packed down, turn it and let it dry out before you add more. A wet dust bath isn't doing much good. Here's another thing that surprises a lot of people. If you set out a small dish of wood ash near your feeder, separate, not mixed into the feed, your hens will pick at it on their own. Small amounts, here and there. They're not doing it randomly. Chickens are actually quite good at seeking out what their bodies need. When calcium demand is high during laying season, many hens will visit that ash dish the same way they visit the oyster shell. The key phrase is free choice. You offer it. They take what they want. You don't mix it into their regular feed. A few simple rules to keep it safe. Only offer ash from clean hardwood. If you don't know what was burned, don't use it. Keep the dish small. 2 or 3 tablespoons for a flock of 4 to 6 hens is plenty to make it available. You're not trying to push it on them. You're just making it an option. Watch your hens for the first week or so. If you notice very watery droppings across several birds, remove the ash and give them a few days to settle. That's your signal they've taken a bit too much. It's easily corrected. Otherwise, just refresh it once a week and let them manage themselves. Charcoal is a different material from ash, and it works differently inside the coop. One thing to say clearly right at the start, we're talking about hardwood lump charcoal, the kind left over from a wood fire or sold for outdoor cooking as natural lump charcoal. Not briquettes. Standard charcoal briquettes have binders and additives in them that don't belong near your chickens. Hardwood lump only. Charcoal does something called adsorption. It grabs onto things around it and holds them. Gases, toxins, moisture, odor. And in a chicken coop, that's a genuinely useful thing. The biggest invisible problem in most backyard coops is ammonia. You may have walked into your coop on a closed winter morning and felt that sharp sting in your nose and eyes. That's ammonia, produced as the bedding breaks down under the roost. Your hens are breathing that all night, every night. At high levels, it irritates their airways and makes them more vulnerable to illness. When you work a moderate amount of crushed charcoal into your bedding during each clean out, just mixed in, not piled up, it helps absorb the gases before they build up. It doesn't replace good ventilation, but it helps, especially in smaller coops during cold months when windows stay closed. You can also offer charcoal as an occasional free choice supplement. The same idea as the ash dish, but a little different in how you do it. Use coarse broken pieces, not powder. Pea-sized chunks roughly. Offer it 2 or 3 days a week, not every day. On the other days, put the dish away. Why not every day? Because charcoal, if eaten constantly in large amounts, can interfere with how hens absorb certain vitamins. Offering it a few days a week rather than daily keeps the benefit without that risk. A small dish, coarse pieces, a few days a week. That's it. Now let me bring it down to just the practical steps. What you do, when you do it, and how much. For wood ash, keep a covered bucket of clean hardwood ash near the coop. A few holes in the lid for airflow keeps it from getting musty. Add it to your dust bath at about 1/4 of the total volume. Refresh every 2 to 3 weeks. Set out a small dish of ash beside your oyster shell. 2 to 3 tablespoons for a flock of 4 to 6. Refresh weekly. Let them help themselves. If you've had mite pressure around nest boxes, a light sprinkle of ash on fresh nesting material adds a little extra protection there too. For charcoal, work some crushed hardwood charcoal into the bedding, especially under the roosts where waste concentrates. Not a heavy layer, just enough that it's in there doing its quiet work. Set out a small dish of coarse charcoal pieces 2 to 3 times a week. Not daily. Put it away on the other days. Remove it entirely if you notice any bird losing condition or looking off. You can also add a small amount of crushed charcoal to the dust bath in wet or humid seasons to help it stay loose and dry between refreshes. That's the whole system. It takes about 10 extra minutes in your weekly coop routine, and almost everything you need either comes from your fireplace or costs very little. Give it 3 to 4 weeks, and here's what to watch for. Shell quality. This is usually the first thing you'll notice. Shells that were rough, thin, or soft should start coming in smoother and harder. A simple test. Tap 2 eggs together gently. A dull thud means the shell is still weak. A clear, bright click means it's properly formed. Feather condition. After a few weeks of regular ash dust baths, the feathers near the vent, under the wings, and around the neck should look cleaner and fuller, less ragged at the edges. If any hen was scratching herself frequently, that should ease. Coop smell. This one is subtle but real. When after a month of charcoal in the bedding, that sharp morning ammonia smell should be noticeably softer, especially in winter when the coop is closed up. None of this replaces the basics. If your bedding is chronically wet or your hens are on poor feed, ash and charcoal won't fix that. These tools work alongside good management, not instead of it. But for a flock that's already being cared for well, this is a simple, low-cost layer of support that's been working quietly on farms for a very long time. The farmers who came before us didn't have feed stores. They watched their animals. They used what was around them, and they figured out things that still hold up today. Wood ash and charcoal are 2 of those things. Simple, free, and worth keeping in your routine. If you're starting this week, begin with the dust bath. That one change alone will do more for your flock than almost anything else you can add. Everything else follows naturally from there. If this was useful to you, share it with someone who keeps chickens. The best farming knowledge has always passed from one careful keeper to the next, and that's still true today. Subscribe if you haven't yet. We post practical, grounded videos for small acreage keepers every week. I'll see you in the next video.